What's going on, everybody? It's B. Scott. I'm here with
G.O.D.
And on today's show, we're going to be previewing the AFC North. You know, you got Joe Burrow coming in the division. Ben Roethlisberger should be healthy.
Yep.
And the Baltimore Ravens got even better, which is scary. So, at the end of the day, we're going to give you our predictions. So, stay locked and loaded right here at the first four downs.
Drop the logo.
What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the first four downs. Now, we've had a little bit of a layoff. Lots of stuff going on in the country.
Yeah.
Quarantine, the George Floyd, tragedy and stuff like that. So, we took our time getting back into the swing of football, just like absolutely, and like most of the sports world. So today's show, we're gonna be getting right into the AFC North, and we can start from the worst team with the number one pick.
Yeah,
that's the Cincinnati Bengals. So for me, on the season, it's not gonna be, this huge successful season. Not this year. Joe Burrow, don't get me wrong, can be very successful, but his weapons are still lacking, and the defense is not there, and he's in a tough division. So I got the Bengals slotted at 4-12 to finish out the season.
Yeah.
I think, they have some opportunities to win some games. They play 7 games this year against teams that were sub 500 last year. So they can win some football games, but I just don't think Joe Burrow is going to be enough to put them over the top and win them, be able to get them to 500.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that too. Vegas got them winning 5 games this year, and there's a very good chance that they don't win 5 games this year.
Yeah.
I think maybe they shock a couple people just in divisional games and upset people. You look at the team last year. You had Joe Mixon struggle a lot. You had the quarterback Andy Dalton struggle a lot. Even when they went to the other guy, he still struggled. You know what I mean? It was all because of the offensive line was terrible. The defensive line was pretty good. You know what I'm saying? I like what I've seen there. They got 23 sacks out of that line last year, which was okay. But the secondary was absolutely trash.
Yeah.
In some parts, they do got some good safeties over there, but I think Joe Burrow is going to be put in a bad situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's pretty good. He's had one of the greatest college careers of all time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This kid, though, is put in this situation on a terrible team, as you said, in a division where the defensive are immaculate in the other 3 teams.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I think he's just going to be put in a position where it's more of a learning curve for him rather than actual elite production.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So them winning 5 games, that's hard for me to put them there. But you know what? Let's just say that they do win 5 games. That still puts them at the bottom of this division. And, it's a rebuild for them.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you also got to look at the weapons and can they stay healthy. A.J. Green hasn't played in almost 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And he's on a franchise tag. So how happy is he to even be there at the moment?
Yeah, on the plus, I mean, even the other receiver, John Ross, what was beautiful about him, he started to emerge last year until he got hurt again.
Yep.
Now he's in his contract year, so he has to play to even be in the NFL and get a contract anymore. You know what I mean? So you got that. You got an excellent receiver in Tyler Boyd, which is there. You know what I mean? So, and Joe Mixon is still there. So, I mean, there is potential there for that team. You know what I mean? On a fantasy aspect. But as far as winning NFL games, they're gonna finish dead last in that division.
Yep. And can they hold Joe Burrow upright? Did that line get that much better? No, not necessarily.
Not at all.
So,
I don't see anything that they did to address the line. You know what I mean? So
now we can turn right to the next team on the list, and that's Cincinnati Browns. I'm sorry, Cincinnati Browns. That makes no sense. The Cleveland Browns.
Well, you might as well say Cincinnati Browns because they both play at the same level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, I'll say that. But the Cleveland Browns, at the end of the day, did increase that offensive line. PFF ranked them as the number 1 offensive line improvement from last season to this season. So that works great. Are you a Baker believer? That's where it comes down to where you can pick a lot of these games, because Baker Mayfield did struggle last year, and was it the offensive line's fault? Did he make mistakes? Sophomore slump plays into it too. So there's a lot that rides on Baker Mayfield, and he has a lot of weapons around him. They didn't have to increase too much on the offensive side. They bolstered the offensive line, and then they added Von Bell at safety, which is a huge addition to the defense. It's already solid, but still not as great in my opinion as the Steelers and the Ravens. Yeah, so I got the Cleveland Browns honestly at 6-10, and I know they can be a plus 500 football team, but I think the division's just going to be very tough for them to win that many games.
Yeah, just the talent I think that the Browns have. You look at the defense as we were just talking about. You got Myles Garrett coming back off of suspension with that unfortunate event that happened last year against the Steelers. They still got Randall back there, and they added Von Bell. You know what I mean? They got some good safeties and cornerbacks.
Yep.
Where they lack at is in the middle. Joe Sherber's gone. They lost Kirksey. You know what I mean? So that run game, that run stop game is going to be pretty hard. You know what I mean, for them. They did everything in their power to fix that offensive line. First by signing Bill Callahan, who is probably the best offensive lineman coach in the game right now. You know what I mean? They took out of the free agency the best tackle out of Jack Conklin, straight up. Then in the first round of the draft, they took Wills Jr. So they did everything they can to beef up the line. Not only did they do that, they kept David Njoku, and they went and got Austin Hooper too to solidify the other side of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Baker has a mid game with Hooper, and you got Kareem Hunt right there. You know what I mean? He should be able to progress, and you know what I'm saying, those check downs to be a little bit more easier for him. You know what I mean? So that's something good to look at. I think they're too good to not win half of their games. I got them at 8-8 on the season, and yeah, that still is third in the division.
Yeah, they absolutely have a lot of talent. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Odell Beckham had a very bad year, very poor year. Jarvis Landry, is he going to be healthy?
In a long time.
Is Jarvis Landry going to be healthy coming into the season?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jarvis Landry's going to be fully healthy. We got Nick Chubb. We got a full year with Kareem Hunt. I think that's a great 1-2 tandem, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
So, and then you add Austin Hooper. That's an even better weapon. You know what I mean, at the tight end position. David Njoku missed a lot of time last year, so Austin Hooper showed promise. He played very well with Atlanta. So I have Cleveland where they can win more than 8 games. You know, they have the offense.
Couple teams,
they absolutely can. So, but I just think the division's going to be tough. Pittsburgh Steelers, that defense is young, and I think with Roth coming back, there's going to be a little more. Those games going to be a little tougher. So I could see where Cleveland can win 8 games. I got them at 6, but now we can move to the next team. That's the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is an argument between everybody because
they might don't got it.
They may not, or they might win 12 games because you don't know what you're going to get from Ben Roethlisberger. So I got the Pittsburgh Steelers at 10-6, and if you look, their defense last year was young, fast, very good, and really performed well. So they still finished the season at 8 wins.
That's great.
With Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph.
That's
so
good.
You bring back Ben Roethlisberger, you don't think Roethlisberger can account for 2 more wins?
I don't know. They beat nobody last year.
They did have a pretty easy schedule, don't get me wrong, but they also lost a couple of very close games to Super Bowl contending teams. So,
yeah, well, that's the difference between a Super Bowl caliber team and a playoff team. You know what I mean? Can you beat the good teams? Can you beat them on the road? And can you beat them at home? We know perennially.
Dallas didn't.
We know perennially Roethlisberger cannot win on the road. He's terrible on the road. So how does that really help the team? If he's good at home, I mean that's great. But you guys are still not beating these teams. And then you go back a whole nother year. Even with Antonio Brown, they still went 97, and they did not make the playoffs. This team is going to be the same thing. I think this year you put them at around 10-6, 97. Yeah. Defense is dope. The steel curtain is always dope.
Yeah, of course.
Those terrible tails are always flying.
But
the team is always terrible too.
Okay. You know what?
Connor is a good back. Don't get me wrong. They got that. I think the tandem that they have at running back, they don't lose a step there. You know what I mean? If Connor can't go, we obviously see that Connor is not a 3-down back. They got Benny Snell, who averaged over 4.3 yards per carry last year, and then they just picked up Anthony McFarland out of Maryland. You know what I mean? He's a playmaker. He's pretty good. They got Jalen Samuels on passing downs. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that does all bode well for them. Can they win these games, though?
They also had Eric Ebron at the tight end position.
Oh, that's very good, too.
You know what I mean?
Everybody forgets about that.
And Juju being fully healthy with Roethlisberger last year.
Hey, Juju has to step up.
Of course.
You know,
he's got a lot to show.
Yeah,
he's got a lot to prove.
He has not proved that he can be a number 1 receiver. Deontay Johnson, I like his playmaking ability. We've seen James Watson with a few catches last year. You know, given the quarterbacks actually absolutely sucked last year.
Yeah.
You know, hey man, the whole Pittsburgh Steelers whole year depends on Ben Roethlisberger and what he's able to actually do. Oh man, I don't know.
They could be a playoff team. I really do.
know.
I think they can sneak in at 10-6.
Hey, Tomlin, go get Cam Newton because I'm telling you,
I
don't know.
think you should go get Cam Newton anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
he would be a great replacement for Ben Roethlisberger. He fits the scheme, honestly, and he's very similar skill set wise. So now we can move
to the big
cr-
dogs.
the cream of the crop. Pretty much one of the Super Bowl favorites. That's the Baltimore Ravens. And you would think that after last season, them losing to the Titans in the playoffs, that they were already right there. But then they go out and make some huge additions,
Yeah.
offense and defense, and got even better. And the way their strength of schedule is, I wouldn't be surprised if they won 14 games.
Yeah.
That's how good their team was last year. So if they can ride that hot hand and stay as good as they were last season, with bettering that defensive line, which is it's shown a huge factor even in winning the Super Bowl. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
That defensive line, Chris Jones came in, made a huge impact. So defensive lines play a huge factor in defense.
And what's crazy about the Ravens right now? They have the easiest strength of schedule throughout the whole league, right? And all the tough teams they play at home: the Chiefs, the Titans, the Cowboys. Offensive firepower, defensive firepower in the Titans. You know what I mean? Which they lost in the playoffs, like you just said. I think perhaps they split a game with the Steelers just because that Ravens-Steelers rivalry goes back in time. You know what I mean? But on the road, you look at it, they got the Eagles, the Colts. I mean, they can easily go in there and win them. You know what I mean? The Colts, Eagles, they're pretty good football teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
No wrong. But that defense got way better, Baltimore's defense. You know what I mean? They beefed up the line. They got Calais Campbell, first of all. Then they go get Derek Wolfe on a 1-year deal. That's absolutely crazy. Then they drafted Patrick Queen in the draft. You know, just really?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's unbelievable how talented this football team is just on defense.
Yeah.
And then it gets remarkable on offense.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Oh my God. So you have a whole healthy Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, for a whole year, hopefully, potentially. And they added Dobbins to the mix and the running back tandem.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This team is not going to be stopped. You know what I mean? I'm giving the Chiefs a win, maybe the Titans a win. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, who's going to beat Baltimore Ravens next year?
Yeah. Even if they split with the Steelers and then Cowboys, Eagles maybe take one, that's 4. That's why I have the Ravens slotted at 12-4. And I was looking over and over the schedule and was like, you know what? They're probably going to win 13 games, honestly.
Hey, I'll tell you what. In the AFC, Baltimore's my lock in the Super Bowl. I don't think Kansas City is more talented. And then you look at, Patrick Mahomes, not to get off subject, is probably the best quarterback in the league right now.
Yes.
Hands down. His strength of schedule just on the past defenses and shit. It's really tough. It's a really tough road. You know what I mean? So I think Baltimore, hands down, I think they just got a route to the Super Bowl right now.
I could see that. I do worry, though, Lamar Jackson injury. You know what I mean? I really think all it takes is one hit and he could be hurt. So do I think it's going to happen? No, not necessarily. But if he does get hurt, the Ravens can still finish out above 500, but they're not going to be as elite, I don't think. They lose a huge portion of Lamar Jackson's dual threat ability of running the football. So, yes, they got younger at the running back position. They added a couple young slot wide receivers, which I really like. They lose Hayden Hurst, but that's okay. They still got Mark Andrews. They still got Nick Boyle. You know what I mean? So they had beefed up the defense. It's silly. It's
ridiculous.
It's Baltimore Ravens. You think, maybe they just got to keep the team together and they'll be fine. They got better. So absolutely, Baltimore Ravens going to rule this division. It's pretty safe to say it.
I got them 13-3.
Yeah, and I got them 12-4, and I absolutely think they could finish 13-3, maybe even 14-2. Who knows?
Yeah,
the sky's the limit for the football team. So
that's crazy.
But anyway, at the end of the day, that was the AFC North.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna be moving on to the NFC. We're gonna be looking at the East and the North and the NFC. So, look forward to that in the future. And so if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, hit the thumb, hit the bell, and as always, it's B Scott.
GOD.
We out.